independence and accountability of the judiciary and enhancing the efficient and effective administration of justice. Please help me in welcoming JSC Vice Chair, Honorable Macharia Njeru.
Thank you. The Honorable Chief Justice and the President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, the Honorable Prime Cabinet Secretary, the distinguished judges, our judicial officers and our staff, and all the other leaders who are here today, please allow me to adopt the elaborate protocols that had already been indicated here eloquently. Let me start, Honorable Chief Justice, by lauding the efforts that have gone into preparing this SOJA report. Sometimes it's easy for us to take for granted the work that goes into it. It's not easy. But more importantly, that this is a report of real activities that have been undertaken within the institution of the judiciary. And this is thanks to the efforts of our judges and our judicial officers and also our staff under your able leadership. Because looking at this report, because of course I've had the advantage of seeing it in draft form before it's being launched, there has been massive transformation within the institution of the judiciary. When one says that this is an institution that has changed over the time and on a very massive scale, it is not an exaggeration. There's a lot of work that has gone into it, whether from technological advancement, whether from changing the structures and having alternative dispute resolutions and also alternative justice system, and also how we monitor and evaluate the work of our judges and judicial officers. It is indeed an institution that has grown exponentially, that has become professional, and that is looking both at the present and also the future. So for that, on behalf of the Judicial Service Commission, I wish to thank you most sincerely. Secondly, regarding this vision, the STAJ, Chief Justice, I'll say this because probably you may not know, but I'll let you into the secret, that when you are recruiting the Chief Justices, when you're going through the interviews, what really impressed the commissioners was the vision that you articulated even before you knew whether you would become the Chief Justice. And you talked about STAJ, though probably not in the express words that is captured today, in a manner that was clear that if you became the Chief Justice, you would run with it and you'd be able to achieve massive transformation through access to justice. And that impressed the commissioners, and there was unanimity that you are the right person. I'm particularly happy today, as I stand here, that even before the launch of the STAJ, you already started implementing it. Recently, the Judicial Service Commission had the privilege of going throughout the country, and we interacted with court users committees. It became abundantly clear, Honorable Chief Justice, that it's already being implemented even before the launch. We found all the critical players in the administration of justice, whether the ODPP, whether the police, the elders, the business community, and the lawyers too, that they're all carrying out this vision. And the fact that they're able to do it even before the launch of it shows that they are living it. The spirit is being infused in them, in understanding that it's the interest of the country that we start implementing it. So I have no doubt at all that upon the launch for the next decade, that this is a vision that will find its way through the entire fabric of our society. Now, you have our assurance as Judicial Service Commission that, of course, you do chair, that any policies that are geared towards implementing this STAJ will give it priority. When it comes to allocation of the budget that we are given, in terms of deployment of resources, we'll also give it priority. Let me end by saying three things. Firstly, that, and this is for all the leaders who are here present, it is in our interest, let us be selfish, it is in our interest to indeed ensure that the judiciary is sufficiently funded. We appreciate, no doubt, anybody in this country today that we have a lot of economic difficulties. But we must move from the premise that historically, judiciary has always been underfunded. So it is in our interest to ensure that at least we make a difference in terms of sufficiently funding the judiciary so that this vision can be implemented, because this vision is actually not the Chief Justice's vision. It's for the people themselves. It's the people who benefit out of it. And we must always remember that when disputes delay in terms of being heard, there are people behind it. There are families. For instance, in succession matters, there are people. We'll talk about statistics, but behind those statistics, there are people. When you have somebody who didn't have to serve a sentence because their appeal has delayed because there's no sufficient resources, somebody ends up suffering. It's a human being. When economic disputes cannot be resolved and projects fail, there's a huge implication on our country. So again, people suffer. So if you look at it from that perspective, it is in our interest as a country to deploy sufficient resources so that judiciary can be able to function optimally. Secondly, the issue of independence of the judiciary. Again, let us be selfish and recognize the fact that when we give and protect that independence of the judiciary, it is also for ourselves. Because I keep saying to myself, and I always remind myself that even in the position that we serve, it's like a revolving door. We move in and move out, and others come in and keep going. So when you don't protect the independence of the judiciary and take that opportunity to play your rightful role to do that, you are actually disadvantaging yourself, because the moment you no longer have that power and you are not able to ensure that you can use your power to your advantage, it is that judiciary that will protect you. So it's in our interest every single moment that we protect that independence. Not only when decisions go in our favor, because we make a mistake that when decisions go in our favor, we say that's a very good judiciary. When it doesn't go in our favor, we say it's a very bad judiciary. We should consistently fight for that independence for ourselves, and we play our rightful role. But in ending, it's also incumbent upon us, and this is now for us who are part of the Judicial Service Commission and the judiciary. Our best protectors will be the public, only if we are accountable to them. Because the mistake we would make is to keep fighting for independence and funding, but we're not accountable. It is not the politicians who will save us, by the way. Those are the ones, in fact, more often than not, politicians who will fight us. It is the people who will protect us. But they'll protect us only if we are efficient, we are accountable, and we live true to our oath. God bless you all, and thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Vice Chairperson, Judicial Service Commission. Now, I want to venture a little bit into Swahili. Na Waswahili walisema, kidole kimoja. And this proverb does speak to the importance of fostering strong partnerships to enhance administration of justice. And indeed, devolved units play a key role in enhancing and improving access to justice by collaborating with the judiciary. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Nairobi City County Governor, His Excellency Johnson Sakaja.
Thank you very much. Macharia, I assure you we will not fight you, but we are partners and we will support the work you're doing. The Honorable Chief Justice, Lady Justice Martha Koome, and your Deputy, Excellency Musalia Mudavadi, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, ladies and gentlemen, as usual, I'm really pleased to see Chief Justice Emeritus Maraga and Mutunga. And as I said last time, you keep giving us the best example of how you must support your successor. An example that is missing in many parts, in other arms of government, and keep leading by that example. As we got in, the Chief Justice Emeritus Mutunga asked me if I have bought boats for El Nino mitigation. And I told him I have not, but I'm glad that our efforts are paying off. Nairobi is not flooding. We have our Green Army that is working every day to clear our drainage, and I'm sure you've seen areas that would normally have been flooded flowing very, very, very well. And we thank God for the rains, but we must remember in different parts of the country. There are people who are stranded, who are cut off, and who are really, suffering. And let's remember them in our prayers. Registrar Adam Madi, congratulations. You have done an amazing. You have really lifted the judiciary, your professionalism, your grit, your diligence. And so I wish you all the best. But before you go, I heard you mention that you're now getting 21.2 billion. I'm coming to have a small bill of rates that I need to discuss with you. Of only 204 million owed by the judiciary to Nairobi County. So we shall have that discussion. Sorry, don't go with it. It's not good. It's not good to go with pending files. And truly, our collaboration can yield so much. I was just whispering to Waziri Murkomen. There's something we're working on together, the intelligent traffic management system. Traffic management is devolved, but we are supported by the national government to set up that system. And I'll give you an example. The test we've done, just one junction with the petty offenses, 3,000 per offense, if you're overlapping, if you jump the light, will raise 1.5 billion shillings. If we agree on a framework together, the issues of funding Masharia should not be a problem, because we have estimated close to almost 10 billion that we can raise annually, and we agree the judiciary gets this, Nairobi County gets this, and the executive gets this. There's enough for all of us if we're creative and if we collaborate. I really want to start by thanking you for all the work you're doing for Kenya's Honorable Chief Justice, and more so in driving judiciary reforms. Our Constitution provides that sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya, and this power is to be exercised only in accordance with the Constitution. Article 159 provides that judicial authority is derived from the people and shall be exercised by the judiciary through courts and the tribunals. This therefore means that judicial authority must be people-centered. Hence, your blueprint and theme for people-centered justice. Our judiciary has been very progressive, as I've mentioned in the past. It remains the only platform for citizens who seek to have their rights, liberty, or property safeguarded. You have been very deliberate and inclusive through the various court users committees that are bringing together members of the public, judicial officers, and various actors of the justice sector to deliberate on issues that affect the delivery of justice. The Nairobi County government is a member of various of these committees, where our county attorney, and I'm sure she is here somewhere, represents us very well. In the year 2015, I was a young legislator. I was a member of parliament. But I also thought I was a bit powerful because I was the chair of the ruling party then. And so one day on a flight from New Zealand, a gentleman had sat next to me called Brian Johnson. We couldn't avoid the small talk because we shared a surname and we were stuck together for many hours. And he explained to me that he had a friend who had done some business in Russia and got into trouble, has come and set up in Kenya and is having some challenges. And is doing some small business. And so I said, no, why not? Let him come, see me in my office, because I know people. I thought I know people. Now, when this gentleman comes, the small business he's doing, I don't know if I should mention it, but I'll describe it. It's one of the biggest, it's a city outside Nairobi, just outside Nairobi. It's a mixed-use development. And he had been having some challenges. 5,000 acres, huge investment. So this gentleman comes to my office at the KICC on the 26th floor, and we chat. And he just talks about how Kenya is amazing, how we're the next frontier, how we should, strengthen our systems. And then he stands up to leave. And I ask him, Brian Johnson told me you have some issues. He sat me back down and told me, listen, Sakaja, the amount of money we have invested in Kenya, the reason why I'm not in any other part of Africa yet, and the reason why I'm confident of that investment is because there is a rule of law in Kenya. Yes, I have a problem. Yes, I have a challenge. But you have a strong judiciary. My matter is in court. If I had to know someone to do business in Kenya, I would not do business. That speaks to what you are doing. your work is providing confidence to investors, confidence to business people that there is predictability, there is the rule of law that supersedes the rule of man, and that people can be confident of what they put in. Thank you. That is driving a lot of investment to our country. You have increased access to justice through your online platforms, and of course he won his case and his business is running very well. I thought I'd have helped him and maybe gotten some favor there, but I didn't, unfortunately. But thank you for those who helped him within the judiciary. Well done. And he's continued to attract more investment just because of doing the right thing. When we go to other parts of the world and say, this is the only country where a presidential election has been reversed in Africa, many people don't believe it. But in as much as it was done, not for the show, but because of the issues that were brought, it really strengthens the standing of Kenya. Kenya is seen as a great beacon and a great frontier for investment globally because of the work you do. As I was saying, you've increased access to justice through your online platform, made it easier for those who seek justice to petition court and have their matters heard without having to travel far and wide. The creation of the Small Claims Court, which we are proud of as Nairobi County, has given litigants an opportunity to access timely justice and ease congestion at the commercial courts. Nairobi County, as you know, is working with you. We've donated land to the judiciary to support the construction of small claim courts in Mihango, Kasarani, Huruma, and Dagoretti. And the county will be formally reaching out to the judiciary to set aside a courtroom in the 4 areas where offenders charged for breach of various county laws can be arraigned at the courts nearest to them as required by the law. However, I have a little issue.
And have the best
I think
organizational models.
For years, petty offenders in Nairobi have been served right here at the city court. Access to justice means convenience, means quick dispensing of small matters. You know, some even I can't describe. Someone has done that. Now, when we take these people to Milimani, and then it takes another 2 days, and then I think, in as much as, yes, the authority belongs to the judiciary, partnering with us to devolve. Devolution is based on the principle of subsidiarity. A service is best offered at the lowest level, compatible with that benefit of the service. Very many Nairobians are being, inconvenienced. Now having to go all the way to Milimani, they are used to us serving them here, quickly dispensing with that matter under the authority of the judiciary. I urge you to return the the city court under the direction of the judiciary. But let us sort that out. Because without that, the city slides into anarchy. These small offenses, and let me even remove these spectacles now. These small offenses that need to be dispensed with, when the people realize that we're not able to, we will not be able to uphold rule of law in this city, and we shall slide into anarchy in the capital. I beg you that you can reconsider that. Secondly, and this one, of course, we're dealing with. I was wondering, Chief Justice Emeritus, both of you, when someone has an issue with the judiciary, where do you go? Where do you take the dispute? Because we have a little matter about this parking here. Now, I can't go to court. And we started discussing it. I think we should really find an amicable solution. I know Justice Ouko, my good friend, he has a lot of opinions around that. We can work together. Historically, we have all the records that I have from City Hall from the years. There's been a partnership between the judiciary and Nairobi. Let me say, I have long admired the Chief Justice's leadership. You take your constitutional and historical role seriously. You understand not just the formal constitutional role that this institution that you lead must play, but also its historic one, the protector and interpreter of the new constitution on which our national hope rests. It's a dual duty that you must be aware of, not just the formal legal requirements of the role, but also the call for visible, substantive justice. It must be seen to be delivered, not just delivered. In my view, you and your branch of government have discharged both duties with distinction. Congratulations, Honorable Chief Justice. We're here today, even with the transition at the Registrar's Office, to celebrate a new advance in the journey to the fulfillment of that dual mandate, the launch of a new Access to Justice plan. So I'm very grateful that the judiciary, after reflection and consultation, is bringing justice to the people. You have set out a clear plan to speed up your processes, to make them accessible, and to offer alternative forms of dispute resolution more widely. Congratulations. For myself and my administration, you have warmly appreciated the help that you've given us as Nairobi County. You really sorted us out. I know, it's gone to a slow start, but you really sorted us out with the setting up of our valuation court, the first one in the country. Nairobi County is now the only county government, actually the only local government in East Africa that has an updated valuation roll of 2019, thanks to your assistance, Madam Chief Justice. And the valuation roll, the valuation court is working. The national rating bill is in Parliament, but we are now able to charge rates of 2019. All others are still stuck in 1980. So thank you, and we shall reciprocate that by serving you diligently as we streamline our processes. May justice be our shield and defender, and may the judiciary continue to grow in wisdom. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Excellency Governor. Just as you let us in on a secret, I will let you in on one as well. Every time I hear that young people cannot lead, I point them in the Honorable Governor's direction. That indeed our super senator, super governor has been leading since he was barely 20. Thank you for restoring hope in the youth of this country. The relationship between the national houses of parliament and the judiciary is a very special one. It is a special one because it is an intersection of accountability that checks and balances power as exercised by either the judiciary or parliament or even the executive. Section 52B of the Judicial Service Act requires that the Chief Justice presents the state of the judiciary and the administration of justice annual report to the Houses of Parliament and also to the public via Gazette notice. Our next speaker represents not just a critical history of the institution of the judiciary, a glowing emphasis that indeed transitions often are complete, and often that intersection and engagement and relationship between institutions must be respected and upheld. It is difficult to speak about the transformation journey of the judiciary without talking about our Deputy Speaker, Honorable Gladys Boss-Sholei. It is a distinct honor, Madam Deputy Speaker, to invite you to give us the Speaker's address. Karibu.
Thank you. I stand before you today with a lot of nostalgia. And today I stand before you to speak on behalf of my boss, the Right Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, Dr. Moses Wetangula. And before I do my diligent work of reading his speech, I think I will request your ladyship, the Chief Justice, the Deputy Chief Justice, and our Prime Cabinet Secretary to allow me to adopt the protocols that have been hereby established. I have edited his speech on that part, so I need to seek that indulgence. It goes to say that it is a great honor and pleasure for me to be here today as you launch the social transformation through Access to Justice Blueprint 2023-2033. Allow me to commend the Honorable Chief Justice for achieving this great milestone of starting the journey of moving the judiciary towards the trajectory of enhancing access to justice. The launch of the social transformation through Access to Justice Blueprint is a testament of the values that the Honorable Chief Justice holds dear from my conversations with her. I commend her for having the people close to her heart. Ladies and gentlemen, I note that the journey towards transforming our judiciary gained traction following the promulgation of the Constitution in 2010, a journey that I personally can say I was proud to be part of. It is hence commendable that the social transformation through access to justice blueprint seeks to move the judiciary from the confines of the courtrooms to being agents of social transformation through enhancing access to justice to all. Ladies and gentlemen, you can also agree with me that each arm of government has a role to play in the social and economic development of the country. To this end, I'm glad that the judiciary can serve the people of Kenya. This calls for an examination of what are the real barriers of access to justice and then move towards eliminating those barriers. Whereas I'm aware that the last 10 years of the judiciary has been on the journey towards judicial transformation through the implementation of the Judiciary Transformation Framework Blueprint 2012-2016 under the leadership of the Honorable former Chief Justice Willie Mutunga, you will agree with me that access to justice is a fundamental human right and is yet to be realized by each Kenyan. The backlog of cases, delays in hearing and determination of cases, corruption, high cost of filing of cases, and non-availability of court stations and funding in certain areas characterizes our judicial system. Ladies and gentlemen, looking at other comparative jurisdictions in the light of this blueprint that is being launched today, I would like to bring your attention to Denmark. Denmark is rated the best country in the world with the most effective judicial system. Denmark's judicial system is characterized by timeliness in dispute resolution, a vast establishment of judicial officers, independence of the judiciary through allocation of adequate resources, and free legal aid and legal aid insurance in seeking to deal with the high cost of litigation. Comparing Denmark with our judicial system illuminates hope that although we are not yet there, we have started the journey towards social transformation through access to justice. For instance, ladies and gentlemen, also as a legislature, we have been at the forefront of working closely with the judiciary in enhancing its independence to ensure the dispensation of justice to all Kenyans. For instance, in the financial year 2023-2024, the National Assembly approved the appropriation of an estimated 22.2 billion to the judiciary for the dispensation of justice. As you may be aware, as a country, we are yet to reach the international best practice of ensuring that at least 3% of the allocation of the national budget goes to the judiciary. And this has been due to the tight fiscal environment that the country currently finds itself in. Ladies and gentlemen, in this regard, there is need for continuous engagements and consultation between the judiciary and the National Assembly in seeking to ensure adequate resource allocation to the judiciary to enable it achieve its objectives of social transformation through access to justice. For instance, recently, the House passed the Statute Miscellaneous Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 60 of 2022. The bill amended the Judicature Act, Cap 8, to increase the number of Court of Appeal judges. We should get a clap for that. Finally, allow me to reiterate our commitment as a National Assembly in working together with the judiciary to ensure the realization of the blueprint on social transformation through access to justice. The doors of the National Assembly will remain open should you need us to put in place any mechanism that may require legislative intervention to enhance access to justice to our people. And finally, I will quote the words of the 35th President of the United States, John F. Kennedy, who once said that efforts and courage are not enough without purpose and direction. I'm glad that the social transformation through access to justice blueprint has defined the purpose and the direction of the judiciary. And I know that the judiciary is headed to greater heights for the next 10 years. Certainly, we look forward as a country where every Kenyan will have access to justice. With those few remarks, I wish you all the best and the best regards from our Honorable Speaker, and I thank you. And allow me, having served here, and like I said, it gives me great pleasure to be here, allow me to make one remark or two on my own behalf. I have, like I said, fond memories when I was here, when the journey and the fast development of the judiciary transformation framework under the leadership of Chief Justice Willie Mutunga then began. It is at that time that I developed a deep love and passion for the transformation of the judiciary. To this day, I have a deep commitment and belief that the judiciary is going to transform our country. And as a patriotic Kenyan who wants this country to change and sees this country being a better place for our children, I am committed to continue being an ambassador and a champion of the judiciary from wherever I am. I know that people make fun of me at the National Assembly. They say, why do you act like you work for the judiciary? And I tell them, because I've interacted with the judiciary. And I know the challenges that face the judiciary. And I know what they lack. And therefore, you have my commitment, and you've probably seen it, that throughout, I have remained an advocate of the judiciary. I also remind people that I am first an officer of the court before I'm a politician. And the Honorable Prime Cabinet Secretary will tell you that during the development of the Kenya Kwanza plan, I was very vocal about the judiciary, and I will still remain to be vocal. Many people have asked me, but they weren't nice to you. Why are you still the advocate? I always remind them that even though the worst nightmare of my professional career did happen here, it is also that turning point that took me to bigger heights in my professional career. It is the place that turned my life around and took me to places that I have grown and on a path to a place where today I love and have the opportunity to impact and change the direction of my country. And for that, I will be forever grateful to the judiciary. So you have a friend in me, all of you. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker, for reminding us that courage indeed is a currency of leadership, for your foresight and inspiration. The measure of a leader really is in the lived reality of conviction, because purpose overrides adversity. We celebrate you and we thank you for setting us on that path of administrative revolution in the judiciary that has led us towards attaining the right of access to justice. Honorable Chief Justice, Prime Cabinet Secretary, Your Excellency, sirs, guests, we are live on KTN News, on the Kenya Judiciary Facebook page and YouTube channel, so please keep your best smiles on. I would like to formally and properly recognize our Super CS, Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen, our CS for Roads, Transport and Public Works, a ministry that has held the hand of the judiciary, particularly our building services, to really make sure that no Kenyan has to travel 100 kilometers to access court services. I also recognize Senator Fatuma Dulo, a friend of the judiciary and a confidant of the judiciary in the Senate. I welcome Kayamba Africa to give us a short entertainment interlude to really awaken our senses now as we move to the next phase of these proceedings. We thank you for keeping your attention and request you to have fun, because Stage is about working very hard but playing even harder. Kayamba.
Thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to be here. It's a bit intimidating, especially at the front here. So forgive me if I ask that perhaps because we've had long speeches, maybe we should just be upstanding a bit. And this is very humbly. We've been seated for a while. I'm going to ask you to help me with this song. Just sing what you are aware of. Me, I learned it in primary school, and I'm still singing it. Adrian, if we are ready, let's go. Try and loosen up by moving from side to side like this. Tushangilie Kenya, taifa letu tukufu, Kenya tunayopenda. Tushangilie Kenya, taifa letu tukufu, Kenya tunayoipenda. Kenya yetu tunayoipenda. Twajivunia na tukijiita wa Kenya, nchi yenye baraka. Twajivunia sana tukijiita wa Kenya, nchi yenye baraka. Kenya nchi yenye baraka. Majana mao yetu ni nchi ya usalama, kamwe hatutaiacha. Kenya makao yetu ni nchi ya usalama, kamwe hatutaiacha. Kamwe hatutaiacha. Umependa Kenya ni yule mwenye kutenda haki kwa watu wote. Anayependa Kenya ni yule mwenye kutenda haki kwa watu wote. Hatutaki matata Kenya, hatutaki matata Kenya. I want to ask all of us, greet the next person standing next to you and congratulate them for being a Kenyan and coming this far. Congratulate the person. Mwambie wewe ni Mkenya daima. Na ukisema hivyo, naomba wale wanaweza piga vigelegele ya Kenya wapige vigelegele tafadhali. And then we are going to sing only one verse of this. We sing together. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele na milele. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele na milele. Kipenzi chetu, nchi yenye upendo, hatutaiacha daima na milele. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele na milele. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele na milele. Thank you very much.
Asante sana. Asante sana Kayamba Africa kwa kutumbuiza siku hii ya leo. Tunashukuru sana. We are now energized to get into the next segment of our speeches today. Excellency, sir, the Kenya judiciary is not just leading nationally on people-centered justice, but beyond the borders of our country. And we, as the Chief Justice engages Chief Justices in other countries and hosts other judiciaries in Kenya, we pride ourselves in having one of the most progressive foreign services, but also one of the most progressive arms of the executive that allows our country to be respected beyond the borders of our country. And so we thank you, Your Excellency, for joining us today as our chief guest as we commemorate this moment of accountability and planning for the next 10 years of the judiciary. They say that when a child has washed their hands, they can dine with leaders or kings. And so it gives me great honor and distinction to welcome Your Excellency to give us your address. Your Excellency, sir.
Now, exactly noon. Good afternoon. Honorable Justice. Okay, I think now I'm back. Honorable Justice Martha Koome, Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court. Honorable Justice Philomena Mwilu, Deputy Chief Justice and Vice President of the Supreme Court. Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court. Honorable Judges of the Court of Appeal. The High Court Judges. The Chief Registrar of the Judiciary. Cabinet colleagues present, the Nairobi City Governor, Excellencies present and members of the Diplomatic Corps, developing partners, our two Chief Justices Emeritus, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As we were listening to that song, a few things struck me. The gentleman who was singing said that he was in primary school when that came up. Then it occurred to me he must be a very young man. Then the young boy walked across, shaking our hands, and Mr. Otieno, the young Otieno, and I asked him, "How are you? Do you want to become a lawyer and then a judge?" He emphatically said no. He wants to become the governor of Nairobi. So I was amused. Maybe Sakaja must have done something that has won a heart there. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to join you this morning at this auspicious launch of two crucial milestones in judicial accountability. The social transformation through access to justice, Blueprint 2023 to 2033, and the presentation of the annual State of the Judiciary and Administration of Justice Report, SOJA, for the financial year 2022-2023. These two documents are milestones in showcasing Kenya as a maturing democratic state backed by a progressive and transformative constitution. This is for good reason. Kenya's Constitution 2010 provides a comprehensive menu of national values and principles which will bind all state organs, state officers, public officers, and indeed all Kenyans in complying, interpreting, and applying the Constitution, and in making and implementing public policy. The Bill of Rights, that has extensive social, economic, and political rights, is a welcome shift from years of yore when rights and freedoms of wananchi were taken as a government privilege, never to be seen or heard. For 13 years now, we should be proud that we have done it. It has taken us that short period of time to inculcate and begin living the Constitution, whereas in many other jurisdictions, such an enterprise has taken many years but failed, stuttered, or is convoluted in contestations and conflict. Despite hiccups, we must celebrate the single-minded execution of the constitutional framework by the executive, legislative, and judiciary organs of government. Each has kept to their lane, respecting the mandate, powers, and functions of the other for the stability we now enjoy. This has worked out because of a leadership realization that though each organ is independent, that autonomy did not mean erasure of complementarity between the three organs of government. Such a stance has ensured discharge of functions without interference from each other, and therefore service to the citizens, creation of a democratic governance system, respect for human rights. Insistence on transparency and accountability as core values has emboldened us to strive for provision of public services that are accessible, cost-efficient, and responsive to the needs of all. I am saying that the Constitution has guided us towards inclusivity. That is why we keep reminding ourselves that in whatever we do, no one should be left behind. The emphasis on should not is because that is the conditionality the Constitution demands of us. Ladies and gentlemen, it is in this context that I commend the judiciary for the manner in which it has discharged its mandate and exercised the sovereign power which the people of Kenya have delegated to it. The launch of the Sojo report is evidence that the judiciary in Kenya is justly committed to serving and to being accountable to Kenyans. I have keenly scanned the social transformation through access to justice blueprint, vision of the judiciary. I have noted the embedded 5 guiding principles of accessibility and efficiency, transparency and accountability, inclusiveness and shared leadership, cooperative dialogue, and social justice. Interestingly, each principle has an outcome that positions the judiciary in focusing on transforming society by ensuring that all citizens, irrespective of status or geographical location, have access to judicial services. This is how it should be, seen and heard, because as the adage goes, justice must not only be done, it must be seen to have been done. Allow me to draw parallels between this outlay and the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, whose focus is on ensuring the ordinary citizen, Mama Mboga, are empowered and facilitated to undertake livelihoods activities for the betterment of their families and society. The key word in between judiciary and the executive nexus is empowerment. From the executive, one is jealous of the judiciary that is miles away in its decisions that have encouraged more people to seek justice whenever their rights have been trampled upon. We in the executive are equally ambitious and are in competition in creating a fervently productive Kenyan. The Better 2022-2027 agenda on the governance pillar has committed to the full implementation of the 2010 Constitution through strengthening the rule of law, increasing access to justice, ensuring respect for human rights, and respecting the United Nations Sustainable Goal number 16, which focuses on peace, justice, and strong institutions. We are therefore not sleeping on the job, although I must confess, we are playing catch-up to the judiciary in some instances. But we do not lack some insights helpful to the judiciary. For the judiciary to further enhance its services to uphold justice, there will be need as a priority to look at the following. One, for timely resolution of cases, streamlining court processes, reducing case backlogs, and ensuring efficient administration of justice. Removing cobwebs that hinder transparency and accountability in judicial proceedings. Rapid integration of technology in processes to improve court operations, as we have seen through the e-filing and virtual hearing. And fourth, for training and capacity building for all judicial officers. This will mean the judiciary progressing to buy in the whole of government delivery as one approach. That requires intensive collaboration between state institutions, such as strengthening collaboration with security and law enforcement agencies. Ladies and gentlemen, on the other hand, allow me to commend the judiciary. You cannot take away the judiciary's admirable efforts in establishing high courts in 45 counties, utilization of technology in case filing, thus granting ease of access to justice to many Kenyans, establishment of specialized courts such as the Sexual and Gender-Based Violence Court and the Small Claims Courts. Indeed, let me reiterate that the executive will not relent on its commitment to support the judiciary in carrying out its constitutional mandate of upholding the rule of law and protecting the rights of the Kenyan people. Before I conclude, let me just touch on 2 points. I was privileged a few days ago to be with Makomen and the President of the Republic of Kenya. And we were in a forum, and the chair of the forum, who happened to be the Chancellor of Germany, allowed the participants to make contributions. But the question they asked was, why would we want to be interested in investing in your country? So as each respondent came up with their remarks, I'll not mention the names of the country, but one of them said that my country is the best to invest in because in the last 15 years we have had free and fair elections and transitions. It's a big country, but they talked of the last 15 years. Then it occurred to me that in Kenya, we are celebrating 60 years. And in spite of the minor hiccups or challenges that we have had over time, we have actually held elections virtually every 5 years. Not the best. I'm sure the judges sitting in this room have come across very many petitions from different angles with people raising concerns. But nevertheless, we did have those elections. So that, in my view, was a major observation. We may not speak to it, but just think about it. You have actually held your elections on schedule, by and large. Now, the other thing that I just want to pick up from Madam Amadi's remarks, she said that she has now, or the judiciary has now established the guidelines for the ceremony when there is transition. because she has been privileged to have been part of the transition of two presidents. I'll be looking for you because the law that we have, that is the assumption of office law, focuses literally on a ceremony. By and large, it's a ceremony. But there's a very big lacuna that I think we should now address collectively. And that is the transformation or the transition of executive power. There's no law that really guides that. It is important because there are fundamental questions. When should a minister step out of office? When there's a change of government? Does he do any handing over formally? Or does he just disappear with the files and records? What about the PSs? The principal secretaries? There's a very serious gap there, and a lot of things happen. And you will recollect that in the transition that we went through, the President of Kenya had been sworn in on September 13th, after the judicial process. But Gazette notices were still coming out, appointing people to various positions after the new president has been sworn in, and Gazette notices are being churned out or doled out of people getting appointments under previous hand. We reached a stage where we also experienced a situation where I'm a layman, but I am made to believe that if the chairman of the Electoral Commission has gazetted who is the winner, or has actually signed off so that for gazettement the results of who has won an election, it should be gazetted. But we had a situation where the government printer was actually dilly-dallying to gazette the results, and when we found out where he was holed, he said he was still waiting for instructions. From who? Now, I'm bringing this out just to say that we still have some challenges, and with the legal minds here, let us continue to make Kenya better. Let us continue to elevate and escalate our own rules and regulations so that we can become indeed that country, that beacon that we would all want to be proud of now and for the future, for the young man Otieno there and his colleagues wherever they are. So it is now my privilege to be part of the launch of the social transformation through access to justice, Blueprint 2023 to 2033, and the presentation of the annual state of the Judiciary and Administration of Justice report for the financial year 2022-2023. God bless Kenya. God bless the judiciary. Asanteni sana.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, sir, indeed for reminding us that we must always be guided by a national culture of justice. And drawing from your inspiring words, allow me to request you to turn to page 13 of the blueprint, sub-article 1.6, that talks about the culture of justice and national development, that says that STAJ enables all actors to participate in building a national culture of justice, and in doing so, it contributes to social harmony, tolerance, and coexistence. National cohesion enables the citizen to engage in collective ventures towards nation building. When a culture of justice evolves, it provides an avenue and language for solving social relations and property disputes that would otherwise increase the cost of doing business. In the long run, the culture of justice envisaged in STAJ enables Kenyans to understand and express national development through its multiple limbs: economic, social, political, and ecological. And the social limb of development is the ultimate enabler to economic progress. So STAJ is not isolated to the judiciary, but indeed joins in the discussion and in the whole of government approach component of national development. Thank you, Excellency Sir, for your inspiring speech. Allow me now to welcome the Deputy Chief Justice, Honorable Lady Justice Philomena Mbetemwilu, to guide and to welcome the Chief Justice to deliver the SOJA and STAJ. My lady.
The Honorable the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya and the President of the Supreme Court, the Honorable Chief Justices Emeritus, Your Excellency Prime Cabinet Secretary, the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, the Governor of Nairobi, my colleague judges, our friends. Is anybody in the house not, is there anyone in the house who is not a friend of the judiciary? Just wondering. I don't know whether I heard right, but I think I heard that I have to guide the CJ. I'm not quite sure I know what that means. But I'll do the following. I will speak on the day that I think, and I have said before, outside of the days that we make judgments, this is the most important day of the judiciary, where we come to return to Kenya and to her people an account of what we have done in the preceding 364 days. A day when, if we were living in those other days, we would be talking about the pound of flesh. And standing where I do, I want to extend a warm welcome to you all on this most auspicious occasion, the simultaneous presentation of the judiciary's annual SOJA report and the launch of the institution's strategic blueprint for the next 10 years. It is supposed that the two documents are being launched together and thus deliberate. The SOJA annual report provides a detailed snapshot of the status of the judiciary and frames the justice context from the judiciary's perspective. Taking this context into account, the STAJ strategic blueprint contains the activities and interventions the judiciary shall undertake over the next 10 years to deepen, enrich, expand, and improve access to justice and the rule of law in our country, not as an end in and of itself, but towards the positive social transformation of society. Particularly since the promulgation of the Constitution in the year 2010, the judiciary has been on a trajectory of transformation. The first blueprint, the JTF, the second, the SJT, and now this, the third one, the STAJ. As you are well aware, the judiciary has been implementing the STAJ vision since its launch in September 2021. Since then, research and consultations have been ongoing that have resulted in the blueprint being launched today that contains the precise methodology, activities, and interventions that will be implemented to deliver the people-centered justice outcomes in the STAJ vision. The development of this strategic blueprint represents an important milestone for the leadership and management of the judiciary and shall reinvigorate our reform agenda across the judiciary. The product of a highly collaborative and consultative process, the STAJ blueprint provides the foundation upon which we shall all endeavor to fulfill our constitutional responsibility and covenant with the people of Kenya for an independent institution of excellence in the delivery of justice for all. The people-centered justice approach under STAJ is truly groundbreaking. It represents a recalibration of both our ethos and the practice of justice. Whilst we have been engaged in practices that might have been people-centered, with people-centered justice elements, the STAJ is a deliberate and structured statement and toolkit to ensure that all our activities and interventions are people-centered and result tangible and measurable, socially transformative outcomes. Building from the judiciary's transformation gains over the past decade, thank you, Chief Justice Mutunga, for starting this for us. The STAJ blueprint draws significantly from the wider global people-centered justice movement, but goes beyond it. To mention a few, there are exciting ideas and proposals on the roles of judges, judicial officers, and the judiciary, on agency, and the justice assets and capabilities and capacities of all justice actors, including individuals and communities, and on implications of people-centered justice approach for the performance and management and measurement of judges, judicial officers, and judiciary staff. I've already said it is appropriate that the STAJ blueprint is being launched alongside the presentation of the SOJA report. The report contains the context, the reality that frames all our actions and interventions. We are thus acutely cognizant of our shortcomings and our capacity vis-à-vis the expectations of Kenyans for a judiciary that facilitates and supports the aspirations of all Kenyans for an equitable, peaceful, prosperous constitutional democracy based on the essential values of human rights, equality, freedom, social justice, and of course the rule of law. How we maximize our strengths, exploit existing and potential opportunities, address our challenges and weaknesses, and importantly, ensure resilience and sustainability are all inside the STARGE blueprint. I appreciate the valuable effort and input into this blueprint from you colleague judges, judicial officers, and our staff across the institution, as well as from our justice system partners and stakeholders, institutional and non-institutional. As I conclude, allow me to emphasize that at the heart of the two documents unveiled here today is one solemn prerogative: accountability to the sovereign in the exercise of judicial authority. So important is this constitutional imperative as framed by Articles 1, 10, and 159 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, that it was further augmented under Section 5, subsection 2B of the Judicial Service Act, and which states, as I quote, to give an annual report to the nation on the state of the judiciary and the administration of justice, and to cause the report to be published in the Gazette, and a copy thereof sent under the hand of the Chief Justice to each of the two clerks of the two Houses of Parliament, for it to be placed before the respective houses for debate and adoption, unquote. Now, both the soldier report and the STARGE blueprint are not presented today for mere informational purposes. At least that's how I see it. Nor do we seek platitudes and congratulations or praise. Today, we undertake a solemn exercise, not one to be answered with praise and worship, but one that must give critical and constructive dialogue involving all stakeholders on the form and substance of justice provision in this our beloved country. Practical and productive feedback on how we can co-produce impactful and sustainable interventions that result in tangible justice dividends for the people that we serve, for the people whose authority we exercise. We have the situational analysis as presented in the soldier report. We have our toolkit and transformation proposals as presented in the STARGE blueprint, and we must now begin meaningful engagement towards improving provision of justice for all Kenyans. It is not a praise and worship occasion. And with those very many remarks, I would ask those of us in the judiciary to do the right thing, because it is the right thing to do the right thing. And with those many remarks, the Honorable the Chief Justice and the friends of the judiciary here present, allow me to do what I consider to be a function of this office that I hold, which is to occasionally invite the Honorable the Chief Justice to talk to us, and particularly today, the Honorable the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya.
Thank you very much. May we please be seated. A very good afternoon to all of you, and most welcome to the judiciary. Thank you very much, the Honorable Deputy Chief Justice of the Judiciary, for your remarks. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs. Thank you very much, all our guests this morning, all the speakers who have spoken this morning. We are very, very grateful. I also stand on the protocols that have been established and acknowledge all of you in a very, very special way. The Deputy Speaker, for your speech and for your commitment to being the champion for the judiciary wherever you are. Our Governor of Nairobi, thank you very much. Even that little dispute that we have that led to us being evicted from the city court, I think now is resolved. Thank you, all the speakers. I acknowledge in a very, very special way my two Chief Justices, my predecessors, my mentors, for being here with us on this auspicious occasion. And I feel like I should invite you here just to greet the congregation. Because what we are launching today, please come, both of you. Please come, both of you, because what we are launching today is a continuation. It has your footprints. It's a tapestry of what my Lord Justice Willie Mutunga started and what Justice David Maraga continued. And I just introduced another pillar, the social transformation. Please say something.
I hope, all protocols observed. So I hope the Chief Justice will not regret what I'm going to say. But I wanted to say, and this message is for politicians who are here. In my office as Chief Justice, whenever I interacted with the presidents, deputy presidents, I used to tell them one thing, that if you think you can enslave the judiciary, it can also be enslaved by those who come after you. And they can come after you literally. And I remember when President Uhuru Kenyatta's goats and trees were cut. I tried to call him to remind him that we had that discussion, that the judiciary is the place where the bewildered will run to. That's why we were called the Temple of Justice, because that's where the Constitution protects anybody. Even Matiang'i, when his rights to privacy were violated, I tried to call him. I wanted to tell him that we are protecting his rights because the politics of revenge is what the Constitution does not envisage. And actually, it's only the judiciary where people will have to run to. Uhuru's sons with their guns, licenses, where did they go? There is no other place. So it's my message to the politicians is that we must guarantee the independence, the integrity of the judiciary. 4% of what the judiciary is asking for funds is a small change. And that this is the institution that will guarantee social transformation. And it needs the support of the other, three arms. And I thank you very much. This message was specifically for the politicians, not the judges.
Thank you very much, CJ. All protocols observed. Colleagues, good morning. I'm happy to, it's afternoon already. I'm happy to be here for the launch of these two very, very important documents, and to see my registrar, chief registrar, give his last word as she exits the judiciary. I'm happy, Your Excellency, the Prime Secretary, that you have the humility to accept that in some areas the other arms of government are catching up with what the judiciary is doing. And I'm sure the CJ herself will tell you that there are other areas where the judiciary is also catching up with the other arms of government. It is important that we work together. And as Honorable Mutunga has said, I have remarked that several times. The independence of the judiciary is not for the judges. It's not for the CJ and the judges who sit in court. It is actually first and foremost for the politicians. They're the ones who benefit most from that, and of course the rest of the wananchi in the country. So it's important that you find a way of supporting the judiciary. When we talk about the budget of 3 trillion shillings and the judiciary is getting only 22 billion, that is a far cry. Something should be done about that. We want to wish the CJ all the best. And as the Prime Secretary mentioned, under the Deputy Speaker, it is important that you facilitate the judiciary to do its work. May God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my colleagues. You cannot see we stand on the shoulders of the giants. Our two Chief Justices have honorably retired, and we celebrate you, the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, as you perform your last functions today for your dedicated service to the judiciary. We are putting in place a system of ensuring that there is dignified exit of everybody who serve Kenyans in the judiciary. And we hope the rest of the government will follow suit, because days are gone when people serve and then they are chased away as if they are dirty dogs. That is history. We celebrate everybody who has served this judiciary, because the work that we are lining on today has the footprints of even those who retired many, many years ago, what they dreamt, what they kept on doing in the precedents of the cases that we keep on applying and repeating, and we celebrate them every day. Thank you, all of you, for the support you have given us. And I thank each one of you for joining the judiciary today for this very historic event. a day when we not only take stock of our journey, but also chart a very decisive way forward in our unwavering pursuit of promoting access to justice across our beloved country. Our vision is to create a people-centered justice system, a system that truly understands and serves the justice needs, capabilities, and aspirations of our people. And this vision is informed by the mission over the last 2 years, which has been focused on expanding, enhancing, and improving access to justice. We are all of us, not only the judiciary, but all the state actors and our people, court users, committees, and stakeholders, transforming the landscape of justice in Kenya, making it more inclusive and efficient. We are committed to ensuring that no one, especially the 20 million who have been excluded from formal justice system, is left behind. When we were developing these documents, we wanted to say we will meet the justice needs of all Kenyans and some of our achievements and challenges in the last financial year. In the financial year 2022-2023, our courts saw cases filed, 423,394 new cases were filed. Ladies and gentlemen, 419,262 of them were resolved, which means 99% case clearance rate. You need to appreciate the judiciary for that. This rate of case clearance marks a 5% improvement from the previous year. Additionally, the judiciary reduced its case backlog, case pending for a year, by 18% from 336,119 to 276,678 cases. That is something also to acknowledge, especially for the judges who are present here, because they work their fingers to the bone trying to meet the deadlines and reduce backlog. I am internally So grateful to the judges, judicial officers, our tribunals, our magistrates, our cadres for your handwork. Thank you very much. The judiciary implemented initiatives to expand access to justice, notably enhancing court-annexed mediation. We have, Your Excellency, our chief guests, the Chief Cabinet Secretary, 17 new mediation registries, leading to a significant increase in mediation cases. A total of 4,708 matters were referred to mediation, almost doubling the previous year count of 2,445. Of these, 4,450 cases were successfully settled. The average settlement rate for court-annexed mediation was an impressive 95%, highlighting its effectiveness as an avenue for dispute resolution. I really thank the committee that has led the court-annexed mediation, led by the Honorable Mr. Justice Ochieng. I don't know whether he is present in this congregation, but we thank everybody who has supported that effort. Additionally, our efforts in mainstreaming alternative justice system have also been fruitful. We developed and launched NJS county action plans in counties like Kajiado and Nakuru. We also established NJS Ukumbi suites in Isiolo, Kajiado, Nakuru, Mpeketoni, thereby enhancing the ability of the people to resolve their own disputes independently. And in this regard, I wish to recognize in a very, very special way the committee led by the Honorable Professor Joel Goge and the elders I see here for this great work. We recognize you in a very, very special way for this ingenious innovation whereby we innovated how we can deliver justice in our own way. The judiciary has significantly advanced its use of technology to improve access to justice. This includes the introduction of e-filing in 6 additional counties beyond Nairobi, digitizing court records, and expanding virtual courts for better efficiency, effectiveness, and accessibility. Moving on, we expect to have all court stations nationwide onboarded to e-filing by the close of the quarter of 2024, up to the current 11 counties. Furthermore, through another innovation, the Mahakama Popote initiative, we are leveraging virtual courts to boost our efficiency and reach. Under this program, judicial officers from less busy courts handle cases from busier courts using virtual platforms. This approach has not only helped in reducing case backlog at the busy stations, but has also helped in achieving a more balanced distribution of work across the judiciary. This is also an internally developed innovation of how we can deal with backlog, and I'm very, very grateful to our judges and judicial officers. The judiciary has made significant progress in specialized justice areas, particularly concerning children's rights and sexual and gender-based violence. We developed and implemented the Child Justice Strategy and the SGBV strategy. The implementation of these strategies aim to make our courtrooms more sensitive and accommodating to the needs of the vulnerable groups. Aligning our vision of offering dignified and trauma-informed care to abuse victims, we have established SGBV courts in 12 SGBV hotspot locations around the county. And in this, we are asking the counties to use all means to discourage violence against one another. And if they don't, their counties will be spotlighted as a hotspot. When I meet the governors, and I send our governor here to his colleagues to tell their counties, please, not to be counted as a hotspot. So far, we are dealing with Nairobi as a crisis, and we are working very closely with everybody because it is the responsibility of all of us to discourage and to eliminate violence within our homes, within our communities. These courts are dedicated to addressing the specific challenges and needs associated with SGBV cases. Our work resonates with the theme of the global 16 days of activism against gender-based violence that starts tomorrow. I therefore take this opportunity to urge all of us to speak out and join hands to root out GBV from our communities. In the last financial year, we have made significant progress in extending the geographical reach and proximity to court services. New courts were operationalized, specialized divisions established, and construction completed for our Hembu Law Court, Port Victoria Law Courts. A notable increase in accessibility was achieved through the operationalization of 57 mobile courts all over the country, mainly in the arid and semi-arid areas, thereby enhancing physical access to justice. The Supreme Court expanded its reach by establishing sub-registries in Mombasa and Kisumu, allowing litigants to file cases locally instead of traveling to Nairobi. The Court of Appeal opened new stations in Nakuru and Eldoret. The High Court established the Kapsabet station and sub-registries in Lamu and Iten. The Employment and Labor Relations Court upgraded sub-registries in Kakamega, Bungoma, and Marindi to full stations and added sub-registries in Kisii and Nyamira. It also established 3 divisions in Nairobi: Claims and Labor Relations Division, Judicial Review Division, and Labor Rights and Appeals Division. On the other hand, the Environment and Land Court established the Voi Station and operationalized sub-registries in Lamu and Kabarnet, plus 2 divisions in Milimani. Additionally, the magistracy within the ELC activated 6 new courts. This is the magistracy generally, which activated 6 new courts in Tinderet, Okarao, in Keno, Rumuruti, Kabiet, and Mandiani. The Meru Small Claims Court was also established, increasing the number of the small claims court to 13. The judiciary made progress in integrating tribunals from the executive, adding 3 more tribunals: the Land Adjudication Tribunal, the Financial Center Tribunal, and the Water. Additionally, the Cabinet approved, and we require to be celebrated for that. And for the peaceful resolution of electoral disputes, which was executed with efficiency and fairness, becomes the hallmark of our judicial system. Our chief guest, ladies and gentlemen, the judiciary's performance is closely linked to the commitment and skills of its workforce, including judges, judicial officers, and staff. To address the increasing workloads, the judiciary, in collaboration with the Judicial Service Commission, has focused on improving human capital management and organizational development for more efficiency and speedy justice delivery. In this regard, several initiatives have been implemented to develop and optimize human resources and create a better work environment. In the financial year 2022-2023, the judiciary enhanced its human resource capacity by appointing 32 judges to various courts, recruiting 396 judicial staff, and promoting 145 judicial officers and 108 staff members. We need to acknowledge the work of the Judicial Service Commission. Thank you very much. The judiciary plans to continue recruiting and training our staff, our judges, to ensure the effective operation of the judicial system. By the end of the last financial year, our staffing levels reached 64% of the optimal level. We have a long way to reach 100%. But we recognize this is a notable improvement from the 56% level at the end of the previous year. Maintaining transparency and accountability in the judiciary is a primary focus that we all work towards, our North Star. Working closely with the Judicial Service Commission, the judiciary has actively addressed complaints and allegations of misconduct as part of the commitment to what we call in the judiciary, judicial hygiene and institutional integrity. In the reporting period, the judiciary received 1,212 complaints, primarily concerning slow services, lost court files, delayed judgments. Of these, 881 were successfully resolved, while 331 have been carried forward for resolution in the current year. They are still active. The Judicial Service Commission processed 77 petitions filed against judges and judicial officers during this period. This included 43 new petitions and 75 which we had carried forward from the previous year, totaling 218 petitions. Out of the 9 disciplinary cases against judicial officers, 7 were concluded and 2 remained pending at the financial year. A significant achievement was the completion of a comprehensive audit, which we asked the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to carry out in the judiciary. And that review entailed review of the court registry systems. EACC looked at our policies and procedures and management of government-funded construction projects within the judiciary. The EACC findings and recommendations from these audits have become an integral part of our strategy to eliminate corruption, enhance accountability, and build trust in our service delivery. Our courts and administrative units are implementing these recommendations in furtherance of our commitment to integrity and transparency. Ladies and gentlemen, the judiciary's budget allocation has grown from 18.12 billion in the last financial year 2021-2022 to 21.13 billion in the year 2022-2023, marking a 17% increase compared to 5.8% growth seen in the previous fiscal year. We thank His Excellency the President and the National Assembly for their support in enhancing the judiciary's operational capabilities. Despite these boosts, the judiciary still faces a significant funding challenge with a consistent deficit of nearly 50% over the last 3 years. We will continue discussions with the government and the National Assembly on the need to address these financial shortfalls. Despite these constraints, we are committed to making the most of the available resources to ensure efficiency in the service delivery. These highlights from the 2022-2023 State of the Judiciary and Administration of Justice report exemplify our unwavering commitment to justice and service to the Kenyan people and all the people within our borders. It is in this context that we celebrate our achievements while recognizing the challenges that we face. We now look forward, ladies and gentlemen, to the STARGE blueprint. Also significant is that we are unveiling this blueprint. Through this blueprint, we are changing the face of justice in Kenya by embarking on a trajectory where our focus will be to transform the judiciary into a caring and service-oriented institution that not only dispenses justice, but also uplifts and empowers the people of Kenya by fostering peace and harmony in our communities. The speakers who spoke said that the blueprint addresses the long-standing justice gap in the Kenyan legal system, where only 10% of justice seekers find resolution of disputes or their grievances through the courts, and 71% through non-state mechanisms, leaving 19% without any legal redress. Beyond the traditional law of being an adjudicator of disputes, we in the judiciary have conceived the law. Our law is to include being facilitators of dialogues. We are supposed to bridge the divides in our community by going upstream to prevent conflicts. We are also promoters of social harmony by promoting reconciliation and the well-being of our people. We have also recognized our responsibility of being the connectors of the various justice champions working under the multiple doors for accessing justice in the community. In this way, we in the judiciary will be contributing to the creation of a more peaceful, just, and harmonious society through proactive and inclusive justice practices. In our quest to improve the quality of justice journeys for our people, our courts will be accessible. Our judges, our judicial officers, members of the tribunals, and staff are all service-oriented and care about the well-being and dignity of our court users. Our processes will be streamlined and simplified, not just for efficiency, but to ensure that justice is reachable and understandable to every citizen, regardless of their social or economic status. To strengthen the judiciary as an independent, accessible, and efficient institution that safeguards the rights of all, including the vulnerable and the marginalized groups, we are dedicated to enhancing access to the court services. This involves us overcoming the geographical barriers and making courts more accessible to our people. In response to the specific justice needs of the various vulnerable and marginalized groups, we plan to establish more specialized courts and fully equip the existing ones. We've talked about the SGBV courts. We have talked about the courts for petty offenses as our governor has mentioned, especially in Nairobi. We are also exploring a 24-hour duty courts. This will all ensure that justice will always be available, even in urgent situations like nighttime evictions or weekend arrests. Furthermore, the STARG blueprint envisions the judiciary as a connector of justice champions, leveraging the justice capabilities of our people. We aim to promote the multi-door approach to justice, empowering individuals to resolve disputes through various means, including mediation, traditional alternative justice system, the AJS, conciliation, arbitration, and other avenues. We are committed to accelerating the adoption and deployment of technology to improve efficiency and accessibility to justice. Our use of technology will be user-centric and rights-based to avoid digital exclusion. The integrated case management system will be enhanced to fully automate case management processes, enabling services to be provided without physical registry access or court contact. Additionally, efforts will be made to ensure integration and interoperability of information systems across the various justice agencies. We are also focused on advancing criminal, civil, and commercial justice reforms under the guidance of the National Council on the Administration of Justice, and I'm internally grateful to the council members who have worked very closely with the judiciary to see to it that this chain link remains constant. Thank you, the Honorable DPP, for being here today and for supporting the work of the NCAJ. A key objective of NCAJ is to reform the criminal and procedural laws which remain largely unchanged since colonial times. We aim to align them with the Constitution's human rights ethos and to make them facilitative of delivery of justice in the contemporary world. In pursuit of the goal of having courts and tribunals of excellence, the judiciary will utilize data and evidence to improve our service effectiveness. This will involve strengthening performance management, enhancing docket management system, and scaling up data governance. The goal is to ensure timely and efficient justice delivery, with no case taking more than 3 years in trial and more than 1 year on appeal. The judiciary, ladies and gentlemen, is committed to tackling environmental challenges, especially climate change, by incorporating green justice principles. This will involve embedding environmental sustainability into our operations, procedures, and decision-making process, including both administrative and judicial actions. The focus will also be on making court facilities more environmentally friendly, encouraging the wider justice system to embrace green justice in our planning and activities. To optimize performance and fulfill our mandate as the judiciary, we are committed to maintaining adequate human resources and focusing on attracting, developing, and retaining talent. This will involve enhancing staff competencies, creating their incentives, and promoting teamwork and inclusive leadership. Additionally, we are looking at strengthening and providing our psychosocial support to our staff to ensure a conducive workplace and equipping the workplace with the necessary tools to meet contemporary judicial demands and deliver people-centered justice. In response to this growing demand for judicial services, the judiciary will work towards securing the necessary financial resources for the optimal delivery of services and to advance our infrastructural development. When Your Excellency Prime Cabinet Secretary spoke about the judiciary being ahead in some areas and lagging behind in others, the areas we are lagging behind is infrastructure. Look at our Supreme Court and look at the imposing state-of-the-art other constitutional structures like the Senate or the counties. So we'll be looking out for support so that we can also enhance our infrastructure and build a Supreme Court where the governor is claiming to be a car park. To achieve this, we will focus on vigorous mobilization, effective utilization, and prudent management of resources. Furthermore, collaboration and coordination in delivering of services are not just constitutional imperatives, but also integral to our focus on putting the people opportunity to call on all of us within the judiciary to recommit ourselves to these values of judicial service that include honesty, efficiency, and dedication, reinforcing our unwavering commitment to integrity and ethical conduct in our judicial responsibilities. In conclusion, our chief guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Stage Blueprint stands as a symbol of our shared vision for a judicial system that is ours, that responds to our needs. Yet, it is important to remember that a blueprint alone cannot enact change. It requires concerted action, collaboration, and dedication from all the sectors. This is why we value the collaborative and partnership that we have enjoyed from very many of our partners. The collective effort of judges, judicial officers, judicial staff, other branches of government, stakeholders in the justice sector, and every Kenyan remains crucial to turning the Stage aspirations into a reality. I call upon all institutions and all Kenyans to join hands with the judiciary so that we can walk and work together to achieve our aspiration of a judicial system marked by accessibility and efficiency. My heartfelt thanks to all of you, my gratitude to the Sonja and the Stage Blueprint committees that worked tirelessly day and night. My gratitude to the Hague Institute for Innovation of Law for their technical expertise and everyone who contributed to the development of these pivotal documents. I recognize also the footprints of our sister, our mother, Lady Justice Efe Owo, the mother of the judges, especially the women judges, for your contribution. I also recognize the former Chief Justice, the retired Nancy Barasa. Our footprints are found also in the Stage because they were in JTF. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for coming to encourage us, for those encouraging remarks. May God bless you to continue supporting the judiciary. Thank you very much.
Honorable Chief Justice, may I request my lady to remain on stage? And may I request our protocol colleagues to help us remove the podium so that we can run or we can manage the symbolic handover of the State of the Judiciary and the Administration of Justice report. Allow me to welcome our chief guest, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, on stage, our Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, and I will also welcome Senator Fatuma Dulo to represent the Senate. as the Chief Justice hands over each of these documents as a tool of accountability to the Executive, to the National Assembly, and to the Senate as required by the Constitution and the law. The next copy will be handed over to the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, representing the National Assembly. And the final copy to Senator Fatuma Dulo, representing the Senate. And that is the collectivity of the institutions required to uphold accountability. Indeed, lazima tuungane. Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Justice. Allow me to request to take your seats.
All right, thank you very much. And as we draw closer to the official unveiling of the social transformation through access to justice blueprint, we'll shortly be watching a documentary on Stage. But as we watch the documentary, I want to request the team that's helping us bring in the 5 outcomes to kindly step out so that we can coordinate, because we'll begin immediately after the short documentary. So you know yourselves, the players, the team who are supporting us in bringing in the 5 outcomes. Let's kindly step out as we watch this short documentary. Let's train our eyes on the screens.
The Constitution of Kenya 2010 vests the judiciary with the mandate to administer justice to all irrespective of status. It also calls for promotion of alternative dispute resolution, including reconciliation, mediation, arbitration, and traditional dispute resolution mechanisms, a key duty in the realization of the constitutional promise of social transformation. This informs the thinking is cross-cutting, broad, and multifaceted. Social transformation through access to justice aims to create a strong institution that is independent, accessible, efficient, and promotes the rights of all, especially the vulnerable. It seeks to improve access to court services, adopt and deploy versatile technology, expand the doorways of justice, enhance access to legal information, champion criminal, civil, and commercial justice reforms, entrench people-centered data and evidence-informed justice services, mainstream green justice, and promote indigenous social justice, jurisprudence, and demonstrance.
We are bringing judges from all over Africa, convening here so that we can see how we can strengthen the role of the judiciaries in addressing climate change in Africa.
The e-filing launch in Maralal is yet another significant achievement in the judiciary's mission to digitize its services, remove infrastructural barriers, and improve access to justice.
Towards achieving an inspired team of judges, judicial officers, and judiciary staff committed to excellence in delivery of justice and strengthening human capital management and development, social transformation through access to justice is focused on strengthening result-based management, enhancing training, talent management, and capacity development. It also seeks to improve work environment, foster a culture of shared leadership, and inculcate a people-centered performance culture. The Judiciary 10-year blueprint seeks to strengthen financial mechanisms, that support the independence and integrity of the judiciary by enhancing funding for the judiciary and the justice sector, improve efficiency in resource utilization, and improve financial management systems. Social transformation through access to justice is committed to deepening partnerships that enhance coordination in the administration of justice through enhancing strategic partnerships and collaborative relationships, strengthening people-centered justice partnerships, and strengthening partnerships with development partners, private sector, and the media. The vision also seeks to enhance public trust and confidence in the judicial system by maintaining high standards of integrity among judges, judicial officers and staff, improve communication and information sharing, strengthening community outreach and civic education, and strengthening of judicial independence.
The blueprint for the judiciary, which is going to be the roadmap that is going to guide the judiciary in the next 10 years, in the steps that we are going to take to ensure that justice is accessible to Kenyans. We want to assure Kenyans that we are on the right trajectory in terms of serving them. We have now embraced technology and we are encouraging Kenyans not to be left behind because this is the way of the future.
The new face of justice is people-centered in Kenya. We will now introduce to you the 5 strategic outcomes. At the judiciary, we have lived and implemented and worked these 5 outcomes for the last 5 years. And the presentation of these 5 strategic outcomes will be made by our partners, actors in the justice sector who represent formal and informal justice mechanisms. Presenting outcome number 5, Julie Diffu, who represents the NCAJ subcommittee on SGBV, and Asia Ramadan, who is a chief and a member of the Kibera CUC. Outcome number 5, enhanced public trust and confidence in the justice system. Chief Asia represents the importance of CUCs in bringing together justice actors to create a justice system owned by everybody, and where trust and the ethos of constitution are nurtured and utilized for the greater good. Received by Julie Diffu, NCAJ Subcommittee on SGBV, is outcome number 5, aiming to ensure that we build an enhanced public trust and confidence in the justice system. Thank you very, very much.
All right.
Let's anchor that outcome.
Yes. Great. Thank you very much. And let's continue on to outcome number 4. And this is deepening partnerships that enhance coordination in the administration of justice. And taking us through this is Dr. Sam Muller, who's CEO, Hague Institute. Iza Mugadza, who's County Manager, IDLO. So that will be placed right next to outcome number 4. So you'll see how all this will come together for that entire strategic, or rather social transformation through the administration of justice blueprint. Thank you very much.
And because we listen to our stakeholders in the press have requested that we move those blocks strategically near where our cameras are so that we can imprint this moment. Outcome number 3, strengthened financial mechanisms that support the independence and integrity of the judiciary. Presented by Elder Ole Legusi and Bishop Dr. Henry Omai, representing the Kajiado Alternative Justice System. The importance of financing justice interventions adequately cannot be gainsaid. We need to make adequate and continual investments across the justice sector to facilitate the implementation of people-centered justice while ensuring cost effectiveness. We are looking at financing options, which include innovative financing and refinancing strategies to promote cost effectiveness. And that is presented by our elders because we want to make the point and emphasize that financing justice interventions, especially traditional access to justice mechanisms, is absolutely important.
All right, let's proceed on to outcome number 2 of the STARGE blueprint, and that's creating an inspired team of judges, judicial officers, and judicial staff to excellence in the delivery of justice. And for this particular one, we have Judge of the High Court. There she comes in, Honorable Diana Kavedza Mochache. Karibu sana, Judge. With that second strategic outcome, presenting it to and assisted in this exercise by Fidelis Simiyu, who is a staff of the Judiciary Court Admin at the Milimani Law Courts, and of course, the people within the institution, critical and important in service delivering and supporting the achievement of the vision of STARGE. Thank you very much.
Most importantly, outcome number 1, a strong institution that is independent, accessible, efficient, and protects the rights of all, especially the vulnerable. We are committed to securing the future of our country. And this strategic outcome will be presented by Mary Nafula and Raphael Bengo, both child journalists at Mtoto News, and I will represent a core constituency, the bedrock of a justice system that is responsive to the needs of the most vulnerable and marginalized members of society. This strategic outcome is committed to improving access to court services for all, especially children, adopting and deploying versatile technology, expanding the doorways of justice, reforming our criminal, commercial, and civil justice sector to ensure access, entrenching people-centered data and evidence-informed justice services, mainstreaming green justice services, and promoting indigenous social justice jurisprudence and demosprudence from our elders. Outcome number 1. Thank you very much, Mary and Raphael.
All right, and as we get even closer to the crowning moment, I remember the Honorable Prime Cabinet Secretary noted that there was a young man here, Evans Otieno. He happens to be part of a emceeing squad, if I may, and so I'll be inviting him to welcome the Deputy Chief Justice and the Chief Justice, who will then be mounting on top of those blocks the logo of STARGE as well as the booklet. Karibu sana, Evans.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. As you've been told, my name is Evans Otieno. I'm a trained journalist at Mtoto News. I'm also the current children's governor for the Kenyan Children Assembly. As I told you, I wanted to be the governor. I'm the current governor for Kibra, Kenyan Children Assembly, Kibra Sub-County. I'm also a child rights advocate. So at this point, allow me to welcome the DCJ, Deputy Chief Justice, to place the STARGE logo on top of the outcomes here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to invite to you the CJ, Chief Justice, to put the STARGE booklet on top of the outcomes and the logo. Kindly, as she comes, give her a big round of applause, guys. It's the CJ.
witness this moment, allow me to welcome our Prime Cabinet Secretary, our Governor, our Deputy Speaker, the CRJ, our Chief Justices Emeritus, and the Honorable DPP to join the Chief Justice and the Deputy Chief Justice on stage. I will also request our elders present to join because they're every part integral to this process. Our members of the CUC and our children, all the children here. All the children here, please join in witnessing that moment. And I will now hand over to Kayamba to celebrate this moment.
Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana, wageni mwakaribishwa. Kenya yetu hakuna matata. Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana, wageni mwakaribishwa. Kenya yetu hakuna matata. Hakuna matata. Hakuna matata. Hakuna matata. Hakuna matata. Hakuna matata. Hakuna matata.
A core constituency championing promotion of social harmony, championing connection with actors, adjudicating disputes, and forming the fulcrum of judicial integrity. Our College of Judges and Judicial Officers, please join the Chief Justice on stage to symbolize this very auspicious moment. Kayamba, please. I think we have not danced until everybody is on their feet.
Ambi muroreba kusundanga iseba. Ambi muroreba kusundanga iseba. Abanuvo. Ambi muroreba kusundanga iseba. Abanuvo. Ambi muroreba kusundanga iseba. Siriria, 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 siriria. Mwana mbeli bayaye, mwana mbeli bayaye go, mwana wa mbeli ni sheko, mwana wa mbeli bayaye, bayaye go, leti turazo tomakura, kubikumwiha, leti turazo tomakura,
our commissioners of the JSC,
omwana mberi ni shekwero, omwana mberi ni shekwero, omwana mberi ni shekwero.
Welcome the Deputy Chief Justice and the Chief Justice, who will then be mounting on top of those blocks the logo of
Ms. Evans Otieno. Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Gentlemen, good afternoon, and the Chief Justice, who will...
Evans, let's